invite our COO of the First Digital Trust, Mr. Gunner, to share with us about the update of the First Digital Trust. So, Mr. Gunner, are you ready?
Hi everyone. Yes, thanks for having me.
I will pass over to you.
Yes, I'm ready.
All right.
All right. So thanks everyone for having me. It's my pleasure to be here to give a quick update on our progress, what we have been up to, and some of the projects and products that we're working on at First Digital Trust. So I know this is a little bit unconventional setting. We are doing this over a video, and I just hope you find this helpful, and feel free to ask any questions if you have. And then the moderators later on will pick that up, and I will also answer those questions in due course. So maybe to start with my presentation, I'll put on a few slides. So if you give me 10-15 seconds, I'll have those on the screen. All right, just to confirm with the moderator, is
yes.
Everything okay on the screen side, and can you see? Okay, that's good. So maybe to begin with, I'll give you a quick update about our most recent partnerships and our fundraising and investment side. So as many of you might have heard and might have read in some of the newspapers, we have recently raised additional $3 million US from Taiwanese venture studio called Nogo. This has been a very great addition for our company strategy-wise, not only funding-wise. And the reason behind that is because Nogo really brings us the technology capabilities where otherwise we would have had to invest a lot on our own. And this is really a very good addition to our company in terms of shareholding and in terms of also strategic partners and strategic investors. We've been working on a few other things. We have been building a significant momentum in terms of moving clients over to our new system. We have been also working on something called Rapid Settlement and Clearing Network. This is a very strategic core piece of infrastructure. Again, this has been really well received across our clients. It's been a great success in terms that we have got a lot of media mentions. We've been on Yahoo Finance with this. And what Rapid Settlement and Clearing Network essentially means is that we allow the transfers immediately between our clients on our platform. And these are sort of our two major milestones. We're also working on a lot of exciting stuff in a payment space. This is something that today I'm not ready yet to publicly disclose, but there is great things coming, tremendous things coming in a payment space. And this will also build into our ecosystem of what we're trying to build. So besides investments, there is the usual things that we're doing. So that's a really quick update in terms of key products, key investments. We're also continuing with our fundraising efforts, as you might know. Next thing that I wanted to cover really today is to address the elephant in the room, which is the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm sure everybody has had to deal with this on a personal level in their personal life, but also for entrepreneurs and for businesses. This has been a very challenging time. For us and for First Digital, fortunately, because we are not one of the, we're not in one of the key affected industries like travel or retail or F&B. This hasn't been that much of an impact. The financial world has been ticking on. I would say there is probably a bit of an impact in terms of fundraising and a bit of an impact in terms of new projects. But overall, I would say we're in a very strong position. We have a very good balance sheet, and with the recent fundraise, we are I would say, in a very safe position, and I don't foresee this changing significantly anytime soon. So rest assured, First Digital is well positioned in this space, and we continue to serve our clients. Like everybody else, we're just waiting for this situation to improve. There might be some adjustments in terms of how we service our clients, how we how we approach new businesses. We had to cancel some events. Obviously, there's less face-to-face interaction, but other than that, I think all good. So I just hope the whole global economy and the world will exit from this very soon. And in Malaysia, fortunately, things seem to be going pretty well. In Hong Kong too. These are two of the countries in Asia that actually have the lowest number of cases, which is a very good news. Overall, I think the other thing that we wanted to address was historically, Hong Kong has had some trouble in terms of political situation and all of that. Again, this is something that there were a lot of concern in the early days, but I guess what we have learned is the financial world keeps ticking and keeps moving on. So this hasn't been affecting us that much. We have to look at the facts, and the facts are that Hong Kong is the third financial center in the world. Hong Kong is one of the freest economies in Asia. We have no capital controls. Hong Kong has a very strong legal system and rule of law. So these external events that are mainly political haven't had much of an impact on us. And the good sort of tendency is that we've been acquiring clients. We've been actually growing faster than we sort of expected, and then faster than we were growing the years before when we were under the legacy umbrella. So overall, it's been all good, and I don't think these key positions have changed. The facts that I mentioned. And yeah, just to sort of close that topic, we are monitoring the situation, and for us, we're always on top of the laws and regulations and whatever the world is throwing at us. So no major changes there. We're very bullish. We're very confident. So moving forward, I'd also like to cover the spin-off process from Legacy to First Digital. And I know probably on today's call, we have some of the people that have overlap on both sides that are supporting Legacy, that are supporting First Digital. On my side, I would just like to address the people that are supporting us at First Digital. And, we are very appreciative in terms of your support. We are progressing with the conversions. We're progressing with the paperwork. The accounts are being set up. There have been a little bit of delays simply due to the sheer amount of volume of applications we got. But we are moving along with that, and because these need manual processing, they need to be reviewed. A lot of this is a little bit being affected by the fact that we had to limit the opening hours for our Malaysian office. In fact, for the past two months, we've been pretty much closed in Malaysia. But our staff is working from home, and we're working on conversions and all that. So this is something that it's very hard for me to cover on a broad scale. So we're happy to address this on an individual level if anybody has any questions about their accounts, the user IDs, balances, and so on. Moving forward, next thing on my agenda is we should also mention a little bit about the agreements for the tokens and the Power Stone. So again, on this front, technicalities and legalities have been completed. It's just on the reporting side, because we need to have those balances online. It's been a little bit delayed, but again, we're happy to address those questions on one-by-one basis, essentially, because we cannot discuss any of the individual client matters on this, in this public forum in that sense. Going forward, let's see what else we have on the agenda here. So one of the requests that we have been getting from our shareholders, our stakeholders, our supporters, our fans, and everybody that somehow contributed to the success of First Digital is to do more frequent updates. I think personally, I'm a huge fan of today's format, how we do these calls. I think for the foreseeable future, we might have to do these updates over this Zoom or other video conferencing means. But I'm very appreciative that Max put this whole event together, and we're happy to be on any other sort of MCM general calls, and also if there is a need to share more frequently with all the stakeholders in First Digital. So happy to do these things. I don't think we can all meet in a meeting room anytime soon. So feel free to voice out your questions, and let us know if you would like to do these things, these seminars more frequently. And I guess we've received also some questions beforehand about the liquidity of First Digital Trust. So what I'd like to mention here is that yes, we are all expecting a liquidity event. Right now, in terms of sale of your shares or your tokens or however way you're participating in FDT, it's all secondary market. So we don't have a liquidity event planned for this year. We are also continuing with our fundraising. We are doing convertible notes in a private placement setting, and we're very bullish for the next year. So in terms of exits, I would say secondary market is always an option if you have a ready and willing buyer. But for other positive news, we're definitely continuing with fundraising. And when we look at valuations and all of that, it might be a very different position next year. So I don't want to be here, predicting the future, but we are working very, very hard, and we're moving forward, irregardless of what's happening with COVID, what's happening with all of these things. So this pretty much concludes the update from my side for today. Like I said, feel free to post your questions. The moderator will pick up the most frequently asked questions, and then after our last presentations today, I'll be answering some of those questions as well. So thank you, everyone. This concludes my update.
Hi, thank you, Ghana. Sorry, I just now I muted myself. Now let us invite Mr. Vincent Chok to share with us about the updates on our legacy trust. Let us tap virtually, click on the reaction button to invite to welcome Mr. Vincent Chok.
Hi, thank you. Sorry I couldn't have my video on today. I'm not looking as pretty as I should. So no, I'm just kidding. I'm on my mobile phone outside, and I really appreciate everyone joining in today's webinar. As Gunnar had mentioned, we are facing really tough times globally. Not only, this is not only a Malaysian situation or Hong Kong situation. This is a global situation, and we're doing our best. And I really think that after this whole episode concludes, we're all going to be stronger. We're all going to be smarter. We're going to be a lot more compassionate towards everything. So we won't take things for granted. I think that what we're seeing today is history in the making, or has already been made. But as far as Hong Kong, our situation in Hong Kong, you know, this is not the first time that the people of Hong Kong and Hong Kong has faced this. The recent situation was something called SARS. I'm sure everybody has heard about that, but that dwarfs compared to what's going on with the COVID-19 situation. And I know that this has probably been talked about quite a lot in recent months, but it is, as Gunnar put it, the elephant in the room. And what a lot of questions that I get is, how is this affecting Legacy Trust? How is this affecting our business? How is this affecting our clients? And what about our employees, staff, investors, shareholders? So this is where, you know, I'm going to address that. For all of us, of course, in Legacy, you know, we're here not only to look out for the best interests of our shareholders, investors, but we also have to take care of our staff. I'm proud to say that we've actually grown during this time. We've added probably additional 5 employees, staff members in Hong Kong, and we're growing also in Malaysia. However, of course, everybody's still working from home in KL. But during this situation, you know, a lot of people, a lot of companies have been cutting people, have been cutting salaries. Fortunately, we haven't done that. You know, business has been good this year, and we're actually going through our audit at this moment. But again, this is a public forum, so there's a lot of things I wouldn't be able to reveal on this call. So if there's any, you know, any more relevant questions towards your personal investments or holdings or concerns about the company, we'll be glad to have MCM reach out to us and have more of the detailed answers on that. But I guess, you know, what I wanted to share today is that
I'm sorry, Mr. Vincent, I just interrupt for a while. Today the session is for our members only, so all our participants is only the investors and the members.
Okay, because I just see that we're live on Facebook, and last time I checked,
that is
Facebook is okay. All right. So, anyways, yeah, because again, you know, we do have to practice privacies. We have to practice confidentiality in our business, and you know, there's a lot of things that we tend not to be able to say. But I'll do my best on this chat. So anyways, we are going through an audit right now for 2019. Our year ending is March 31st. So we will be calling our AGM shortly, probably July, September. And the good news is, of course, this is a very favorable year, meaning that we're going to be finally in the positive. So I'm happy to announce that. Secondly, we've now secured quite a number of new funds, very international funds with huge, big names behind it. And you know, again, I won't say the actual names, but they're quite large in their industry and involving finance, insurance. And also we have new projects that we are doing under Legacy involving the US retirement side, IRAs. So Legacy and First Digital is working closely, whereby the reason why we had to do the spin-off, if some of you don't know it yet, but you know, I'll remind it to you guys today, is that it's very different businesses, even though they're both the same trust. And by the way, First Digital is fully licensed, now we are fully compliant, registered public trust company. We are also TCSP licensed. We have several bank accounts. So we are far, far more ahead than we were when we first started Legacy. So that is because of the guidance that Legacy has been sort of given to First Digital. And again, the reason for the spinoff is that First Digital focuses on very futuristic type of assets. And when I mention what that means, that's digital assets. The traditional Legacy does business and does a lot of our trust via deeds, via, you know, the old-fashioned paper, which will also change, whereby First Digital does a lot of things through, you know, new technology involving APIs, involving blockchain, involving digital assets. And so it's more of the mainstream, what you see today, what you see in the news about tokenization of securities, tokenization of real assets like real estate. So First Digital is focusing on a lot of those type of projects. And going back to Legacy, we are dealing more on the actual underlying security. We are doing gold right now, physical gold that we've secured for, there's 3 projects in the works for gold. And one of them under Legacy focuses on the IRA. And what IRA is, the US retirement, self-directed retirement plans, which is the largest industry, largest pension market in the world, which is the US. So proud to say that we have figured out a way that we are working to be able to sell IRAs to the US people via Legacy holding the underlying physical gold. And what that means is that, I'll just give you an example. For example, if you are a pensioner and you have money in your pension account and you want to buy gold, well, traditionally it'd be really hard to buy gold if you can't afford anything more than an ounce. So by doing this, going digital via tokenization of the IRA's gold, you can actually go 3 decimal points to the right, meaning that people can actually buy gold using their retirement plans for, you know, they can buy 3 milligrams of gold if they want to, right? So that opens up a huge, huge market for people that wants to have a position in gold for their retirement plans. So that doesn't sound like much, maybe not as exciting as the stuff that we're doing under First Digital, but it is long-term, because in our business, once you get grasp of an asset and it's been tokenized, those assets doesn't move very easily. And so means that when assets don't move, you tend to be able to collect fees going forward for you know, quite a long time. And I guess that's where you want to build a company, you want to build a business that has reoccurring fees. Okay. And other things that we're really excited about is that Hong Kong has recently announced that they are going to mirror the LPGP structure of Cayman Islands, and that will take full effect. I think they're going to ratify that in August. So again, it might not sound like much, but as you know, there's a lot of financial institutions setting up Cayman funds because of the structure that Cayman offers, the tax benefits. Well, Hong Kong just announced that they're going to do that. And of course, we know that Cayman has not always been in the good light of the world when it comes to compliance and money laundering and AML and all of the good stuff for regulations. So we will see an increased activity of funds coming into Hong Kong, whereby they need qualified custodians. And guess who's a qualified custodian? We are. and qualified custodians are needed. It is mandatory by law that no financial institutions can hold their own assets, so they will need a third party. So there's a lot of, we're talking to a lot of companies structuring funds, now looking at structuring funds in Hong Kong using, working with us as the custodian. So we're quite excited about that, okay? Let me see, sorry. I got a few questions that was sent over to me. What is the current progress of Legacy's business? I think I spoke about that. What is the current financial status of Legacy? Again, I touched on that. We are now in the positive. We are going to be finishing our audit by the end of, probably by the end of March, and then we'll circulate the financials to everyone prior to the AGM, sometimes July or September or August, most likely July or August. It depends on the COVID-19 situation. If maybe we'll have to do one of these webinars for an AGM, who knows? All right, so one other question is, okay, I'm not really sure. Max, maybe you can jump in on the third question.
Vincent, the third question is actually asking because we have two batch of investor. The first batch of investor actually directly invested in the Legacy.
Yes.
And the second batch, the investor actually they invest through the trust.
The ORSO, yeah.
The trust. So
yeah.
Can you explain again, because some of them might still not really clear about the structure itself. So maybe you can address this again.
Okay, well, I mean, by investing directly into a company, that's quite straightforward. You get equity, you get shares in your name. But in the structure that that's not directly invested, which is an MCM trust that we set up for its members, whereby MCM is the legal beneficial holder of the shares on behalf of the members, which is the beneficiaries. So that's the two difference. And the reason why that's preferred is because as a financial institutions, our main business is handling assets. And one of the biggest, of course, most important assets that we handle is money, is currency. And how do you handle currency? You'll need treasuries, and treasuries are banks and accounts and brokers. So for us, it's very important, and that's the reason why First Digital was set up and structured the way it was, is to have as little and minimum shareholders on the shareholders registry as possible, because when you set up any accounts, financial accounts, you'll have to report, you'll have to see the shareholdings, you'll have to see who has the value of more than a certain percentage. That really is important for us to maintain and to control, or else those financial accounts cannot be open. So those accounts are weapons and our tools to operate, right? And if we have, hundreds of shareholders on the registry, those shareholders' names will have to be disclosed. Of course, the banks will look at it and they'll look at why, we have so many names. So that's the reason why we have a separate structure for holding shares via a trust. But of course, we recognize all of the beneficiaries, right? We don't say, hey, you're not directly on the registry, so we won't recognize you. Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Vincent. Any other things that you want to update us?
No, I think that that's pretty much it for me today, but excited going forward where we are today compared to, you guys must have been really bored hearing the same old thing from me about restructuring, getting all the things cleaned up. Well, I'm happy to say that we're out of that nest. You know, we're into a very positive, bright present and future, and that we're really, really excited that we can, you know, share all of this with you guys, and not only with Legacy, you know, with First Digital. We do know that if you can survive this whole global pandemic, yeah, that's the key. Once we're out of this, you know, we have nowhere to go but up. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Richard. So now we comes to the Q&A session that we will open to the floor, and I actually received some of the questions from the PR, Mr. Arthur also. Maybe I just go through a little bit on this question. Just on the fact that this session is only for our members, for the investors only. We are actually not doing it for the publicly. It's not a public event, so only for the GIC members only. And all the RE already joined into the group, so we don't have any streaming now through the private group. So we have a few questions that need Mr. Garner to address. Of course, first of all, is just now we have a few questions is about the progress of our legacy trust, legacy shares conversion to the Stormstone. And it have been a few months since 2019. So after submitting the documents, so until now, we still not received any user ID and a password yet. So can Garner explain a little bit more on the process?
Sure. So there's two main points. So we do have all the documents. There are some of the people that we might need to reach back to complete some of the AML KYC processes. We do have all the records. We have all the balances. We have all the calculations in place. Rest assured, your allocations have been secured and already allocated. It's the reporting phase in terms of giving you the online access. So that's the previous two parts that I mentioned that was completed early this year. We had most of the stuff done by late Feb, and we started onboarding. We do have some clients that have the logins already, but for the bulk majority, because we're dealing with sensitive client data and we had to close down our office in KL because of the virus situation, those files remain in the office and we do not allow our staff to take them home for obvious privacy reasons. We will start processing them again as soon as we open our office. So hopefully that in KL, so hopefully that will be after the 9th. And those user logins details should be coming in as soon as we get our staff back in the office.
Okay, so how long do you expect after it reopen up, how long it takes to complete all this setting up of accounts?
I would say most of the people should receive first notifications within the first week. As I mentioned, we already know there are people that where we need to follow up. There are some cases we need additional tax IDs. Some documents we notice are expired. There's few little administrative quirks and tweaks and things that we need to do, but we will revert back within the first week with either login details for the first batch or where we need to follow up. You should be expecting emails from us with the details, and watch out for that. So when you do receive the emails, the faster you send us the inquiry, the faster we can get you going. And yeah, that email will be coming straight away from us. So this is nothing nothing unusual. It's just that we need to keep proper records.
Okay, we have another question here that as we have not received our agreements and the tokens. Okay, I think this one is pretty much the same. Okay, what's the status of our first year partial capital return and the profit payout as it's coming to the end a year soon? So is there any the things, is it moving forward?
So we're going to be calculating those towards the end of the year. The good news is that we are generating revenue under First Digital. We signed a major new client with a very big initial ticket. It's a well-known global brand. I think I previously mentioned that it's related to the gold. So that's another major project for us. So once we cross that bridge, we'll share some news about that. But right now it's looking very, very positive.
All right. Okay. I think there's quite a lot of messages coming into my chat room. As I mentioned just now, if let's say you have any question, please direct to Mr. Arthur. He is the one who compiling all the questions. Because for my chatbot, actually, I have a lot of the chats are actually directing to me, so I cannot filter all this. So if let's say you have a question, please direct to Mr. Arthur. All right. Okay. Thank you for your cooperations. And then we have another one question also regarding to the FDT. Why is the FDT is so low profile? Because so far we search from the Google, we try to search any news about this FDT. Actually, we cannot get anything about this FDT. So if let's say we want the people to use the service, so shouldn't we actually let more people to understand, to know this brand, this FDT, Mr. Garner?
Sure. So I think there's two answers to this question. One is rather jokingly, I'm not really sure where you're getting the news, but there's a lot of mentions. We were on Yahoo Finance. Personally, recently I did an op-ed with a very First Digital angle on Singapore Business Times. This was just a few weeks ago. So we've been pushing the brand really, really well, and it's been really well received by our media partners. Personally, I've been getting like requests for interviews and all of that. There's another op-ed coming out soon. So since the consensus last year, we've been featured in media quite a lot of times. What we can do perhaps is help MCM group and compile maybe a list of all the mentions. But there is a ton of mentions out there by very well known global publications like Yahoo Finance and so on the crypto side, CoinDesk, all of that. But on the flip side, the other thing we have to keep in mind is that First Digital is not B2C company per se. We are not like a crypto exchange targeting individual clients, hundreds of thousands or millions of clients. Our business model is B2B, and in most cases B2B2C. And what that means is our business development, our sales and marketing is really geared towards our business contacts, and having flashy websites, having Facebook page and all of that. We've tried that historically with legacy, but because of the nature of our business, most of our clients don't come through those channels. So you will see us being more active on LinkedIn. That will of course increase. In terms of our website, it will always be very conservative. We will do our news and insight pieces on our blog, but most of our business development doesn't really come through Google searches. So if you search for, who can help me to set up a crypto fund in Hong Kong, these kinds of clients are not coming through Google search. They're coming through other industry players. Events have been a major piece of our marketing push. You've seen that with Legacy. You've seen that with FDT last year. This year, we've been put that on hold, but we're participating in virtual conferences. We're trying to take as much as we can online. But I guess my point is that we are never going to be like a very retail, salesy website. At the end of the day, we're a trust company. We have to maintain professionalism, And what you're probably going to expect from us in terms of online presence is always going to be rather conservative. Just as a closing note, we're engaging now a branding firm to a little bit overhaul First Digital website. So there is going to be changes there, but again, those changes are going to be in line with our sort of main focus. Our website is there to say who we are, what we do, what our products are, and after that, this is sort of a sales process that goes offline. And where you can, in terms of marketing, where you can expect updates from us. So we are working on a couple of branding videos. We're working on product videos. So there, I'm no stranger to, the stuff that we did with Legacy in terms of branding, all of that. So you can expect very similar corporate videos, product videos coming out very soon as well for First Digital. We're working on that.
All right. Thank you, Ghana. Just now, just to highlight a little bit on just now, there is one live in our Facebook private group. So just now because our RSVP is too many, so we actually divert some of them to our private group in Facebook. But now actually all of them already moved back to this Zoom, and then we already stopped the Facebook live already. So now it's only purely for the people, our members and the RA in this group. So Ghana, can you also continue to present the presentation just now you want to share with us?
I think Ghana has some slides, right?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. I can put some slides back on. So this is more for, just all the disclaimers. This is more for existing shareholders, just to give you more of an update in terms of what we're doing in terms of fundraising. If anybody wants to, take further participation in First Digital and all of that. So just give me a second. I'm opening it up again. I have it closed actually on my screen here. So it will take just a minute to get it back live.
I think we also would like to highlight again. You can see in the chat box there is a Word file. I think PR Arthur have include all the news article that address about this in the Word file, so you can check, download.
All right. So am I back on with my screen? Can everybody see?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So I'll skip these slides. You already know the spin-off story. You know why we did it, the reasoning behind it, and where we want to go with First Digital in that sense. So I won't spend too much time here. Some of you have already seen this presentation from the very early days when we did the spin-off. So I won't spend too much time on that. I'll just leave it there for a second. Really quickly recap some of our sort of competitive advantage, which is technology, operational controls, top-tier management. One of our key differentiator is that we handle all kinds of assets, not only just digital assets and crypto. We do all of that. Again, I guess we don't have to really have to cover too much in terms of what we are, where we're going and what the industry is doing. Just to repeat some numbers, the only 7% of digital assets are owned by institutions, so a lot of the industry is still uncaptured. Asset tokenization is a huge part of our companies where we're trying to move, and what Vincent also mentioned before, the new structure in Hong Kong, the GPLP structure, which is not in any of the presentations or any of this stuff here, but where our advantage was early days, like when companies were doing ICOs, was structuring. So we're looking to roll out our structure, the GPLP structure, when that becomes available in Hong Kong very soon, as a package deal where you get a custody account, where you get a fund structure, all of that. So that is extremely exciting for us. I believe it's going to bring a lot of new clients to FTT. It's a very, very hot topic right now. Again, so this is a little bit technical, but essentially what this slide is designed to show is that it's still a very early industry. So when you compare digital assets to other asset classes like equities or treasuries, the daily volumes in digital asset class are nowhere near compared to the others. But you can already see that it has passed some of the very traditional asset classes like corporate debt, European equities, and all of that. So that really tells you the crypto is and digital assets is no more this corner case that's only getting focus from some computer people and tech people and all of that. It's really emerging. So I believe in a few years we're going to have discussions again where we can open up the same charts, and I think digital assets will grow, and it will at some point will pass U.S. equities and all these other asset classes as well, because there's just so much potential to tokenize equities and tokenize all kinds of securities on blockchain, and somebody has to hold those underlying assets. So that's where we come in. I won't spend too much time on our competitors here. You'll see the numbers. We're okay to share this later on actually as well. But huge part of what we're doing is essentially our bet on the tokenized assets. And according to some market estimates, this whole industry could reach 24 trillion by 2027. I know it's a long time in the future, but if we look how crypto has grown, we try to add another bar here on the left side, and it wouldn't even show up here basically, right? So it's really how you put it in perspective. But if you only show the crypto growth, it would be massive. So if you follow the trends and if you follow all of that, there's great potential in terms of how the tokenization is going to grow. And if let me tell you, if COVID and this whole lockdown thing has shown us anything, is digital is in, paper is out, old fashioned is out, and everything is moving to digital, including assets, including property, and people just have to deal with it. The days of stock market exchanges where people are at the trading floor are over. So that's not going to happen anymore. And in a very, I can say in a very sort of ironic way, this COVID has been a wake-up call for many issuers and many people, and this is going to have ripple effect through the issuance industry as well. So I'm very bullish on in terms of the growth of the token issuance and digital asset space. I can only see a growing trend really there with the current situation. Moving forward again, yeah, we all know what the issues are. We all know what we can do. I believe today's call is not really, it's sort of wasted time to explain that because all of the people on the call already know our value proposition. Again, qualified custodian. This is the same thing as with Legacy. We are now fully licensed. We got our name change done. We're out there. So this is all sort of water under the bridge for us. This one I already covered as well, which is some of the recent media coverage around our newest products and investment that we have managed to attract. I think this slide perhaps is good for a refresher. Again, we see ourselves as an ecosystem player or sort of an infrastructure player, and it's a good illustration how we contribute to this space. So of course, our bread and butter, trust and custody. We hold people's assets. We act as a trustee. That's no brainer. However, as tokenized assets are becoming more mainstream, There's going to be asset servicing that's required, mostly for the end investors, end users point of view. If there's income collection, all of that, you need somebody to handle that. Client support, blockchain services. You know, some of you might be involved in some of the more adventurous stuff like staking, all of that. There's just not many companies out there that do that. Also payments and lending. So this is another area that we're pushing really, really hard. Today, not many news in terms of names that I can mention. As you know, for us, we always like to sort of talk about realistic products that we have out there, and not to go too much into detail before they're market ready. Without having to sort of bring up a lot of details there, but we have quite a few exciting projects going on in the payment space, especially acquiring side, credit card payments, all of that. But we'll cover that in more detail, probably in a separate session. I think it deserves a whole another topic, because it's a very new, and it's going to be a huge part of First Digital's product portfolio. But a lot of exciting stuff happening there. Probably more of a bigger topic for another day. And we have BitPension, of course. Many of you know about this already. So this is sort of a legacy from a legacy side of things, where we allow people that are sort of more long-term in, let's say, investors or savers or hodlers in the crypto space to hold their digital assets through a pension structure. So what we're doing is, like, I think it's important to understand that FDT is, we are not like one product shop that, you come to us, we're not like a bakery, you come to us to buy the bread. So we're more like a supermarket for this industry. So the types of clients that come to us are more B2B, and they come to us for various different services, but these are powered mostly by custody services. But you can look at from this diagram, you can see who are the main types of clients. So obviously liquidity providers like OTC providers, exchanges, market makers. And on the other side, we have token issuers. We've been doing a lot of business with token issuers, stable coins, all of that. Other types of services that seek for our help are payment providers, AML, KYC providers, and of course traditional financial institutions as well, like funds and crypto funds and all of that. This is sort of our product like axis, we call it, right? So where everything comes together. So on this slide again, so this is something that's more technical. It will take a lot of time to explain it, but this goes back to the news articles that I mentioned. Remember, I said we're working on a rapid settlement network. So essentially what it means, and what we're trying to illustrate here as well, is our clients, First Digital clients, can transfer assets freely between themselves and other clients or FTT. And this is a fully automated cross-settlement network, meaning that the transactions are automated. There is no manual intervention. And this is super exciting. I mean, this made huge waves in the press, in the media. We are testing it out with some of the few early adopter clients that we have that are sort of more forgiving. But this is going to be huge for us. I mean, it's if you think about how much time it's going to cut down, like normally to do a payment, manual transfer in this manual involvement is like a few hours of labor that will go into it. This whole thing is going to automate the whole thing. So we're cutting down from maybe 120 minutes to process something end to end to just a few seconds or a few milliseconds. So this is huge. It's going to free up a lot of our administrative time, and also deliver better customer service for our clients. again, so one of more technical diagrams, this sort of explains our technology under the crypto custody. This is super technical, but essentially what we're trying to say here is that we have institutional level operational controls. So this is something that our clients really, really appreciate. Probably not much value for today's presentation, but it is designed to sort of show how the process works between multiple people that need to authorize and some of our institutional clients. And also jumping back, like I said, we're building an ecosystem. So our clients, token issuers, exchanges, OTC desks, funds, high net worth individuals, these are all our potential clients that need solutions from us. So this is what we're really gearing towards. One of the previous questions was, why is not First Digital out there on Google, like first page, and trying to do really heavy sales tactics? It's very evident here if you look at the types of clients that we're really pushing for. You don't really see here individual clients. The only individual clients that you see are the high net worth individuals. So we're not super retail. Most of our business is B2B. And when we do B2C, it's high net worth individuals. Again, this is no surprise to many of you, but we quite often talk, and we get questions, how do we make money? So it's all about fees, and how do we capture revenue and how do we capture fees? So this sort of illustrates the full life cycle from the setup fees, the custody fees, instruction fees, transaction fees, reporting, and then it sort of all goes in circle. That's sort of part of my job to come up with the revenue capture models and all of that. So for us, a lot of this is about cross-selling. So when we sign up a client, then we're offering custody services. We're cross-selling and upselling other products to them. So a custody client is not just a custody client for us. The custody client might want payment services. They might want all these other services from us. Once you have a client on board, purely from sales point of view, it's easier to close them and sell them on other products and services. So that's always on top of our priority list, and this really illustrates. And I think another thing here, just for educational purposes, is like, if you think this from business point of view, what is the cost for us? So the cost for us is technology, is maybe staff, and we have our capex basically that we have. But at some point, these costs flatten out. So it's like, we're trying to flatten the curve with COVID. It's the same thing for us. The cost for us flattens out at one point. And the more AUA we have, because our fee model is based on the AUA, the fee model has exponential potential to grow, but our cost model will flatten out at some point. So with FTD, we're at still that point where we're starting to see the flattening of the curve in terms of the cost because of the partnership with Noble and the stuff that we've been doing. But the potential in terms of the AUA, because the fees can grow exponentially as the AUA grows exponentially. The more the company grows, the more profitable essentially it becomes. So this is sort of my philosophy. So we need to monitor the cost. We need to not overspend. We need to make sure that we are realistic on that, and then it will stop at one point. And then throughout everything, it's always to grow the revenues through increasing AUA. And this is where the economies of scale kick in. So the cheaper it becomes us to offer those services. And that is also why it's very hard to compete for other companies in this space. So to set up a new trust company, you're going to be dealing with a lot of costs, right? But the cost is only the upfront, the initial cost. So once you get to that point where you have the office, where you have the technology, when you have the relationships, when you have the staff, the cost doesn't, increase that much, but the revenues can, and there is no blocker on the revenues other than, just stopping the sales basically. So that's sort of our philosophy in terms of how we make money. Again, this slide pretty much the same. This is our general roadmap. So we're approaching, we're ending Q2 2020. So first digital pay, rapid. So we're pretty much on track. First digital pay, I cannot mention the names yet, but we're talking to one of the biggest payment processing companies in the world, launching a payments product. We'll name the names once we're fully ready with that. Rapid settlement network. So this one is already in production. We've been testing that with some of our sort of early adopter clients. And yeah, the payment processor stuff is the same. So what are we looking forward for the H2 second half? So definitely we're looking to start on the SOC certification process. This might be delayed a little bit because this requires actually auditors sending physical people to our offices. It's a little bit difficult to do because of the sensitivities and all of that. There's a lot of groundwork, paperwork that we can prepare and do, and we can sort of put that in motion once the whole situation dies down with the whole COVID and all of that. So hopefully next quarter, end of next quarter, we can start looking at that. But I would say having people in our office, doing audits right now, this is impossible. But we're revisiting that, as the situation changes, basically gets better. 2021, there's additional, we're always innovating, we're always creating new products, lending, payroll, crypto payroll, more licensed products, LP, GP, like fund products, all of that. That's all in a pipeline. That's what we're looking towards at 2021. Okay, let's see. So this slide again, I'm sure most of you have seen it. This is just a little bit of a competitive comparison between us and other companies. And you can see a funny thing here. Other people have pointed out is you can see all of these companies are from US. So if you think about Southeast Asia and our competition, there's very little competition. So I still dare to say today that we're probably the best and the biggest custodian in Asia, with all the legacy that we inherited from Legacy Trust. And we have a lot of advantages in that sense. Where we need more firepower is the fundraising. And I'll jump really quickly into that as well. Yeah, so we don't have any fundraising slides here in this presentation, but just to give everybody an update. So last year, end of last year, beginning of this year, we had to put our fundraising on hold, largely because of the situation in Hong Kong, which now we're not too much concerned about. And then also the ongoing situation with COVID. We had to reassess a lot in terms of our fundraising strategy to be more friendly towards VCs and big money players. We are now starting again on the fundraising side of things. Full disclosure, we are doing convertible notes under FTT. So if anybody has interest in that, happy to share more about that as well. Probably not on today's forum, but that's something that we're going out to more on the institutional investor side and professional investor side. So whoever is qualifying for that, we're happy to share the information on that. So we are also, on that note, we're talking with few big VC companies. One of them is a leading messaging platform in Asia. Again, can't mention the name. We have NDAs and all of that. But they are a major player in Japan and Korea. So their VC arm is very interested in working with us, being our client and also investing. We're working with a major VC fund to look at the funding round in Hong Kong, and there's a couple of others as well. So again, I think this is something that sort of deserves a whole another presentation, and what we're trying to do. But just to give everybody an update, yeah, we're resuming with the fundraising. So it's been on hold for the past almost 5 months. So this is moving forward, and we're still approaching it very cautiously in a way that we know that capital flows have been sort of restricted during this time, but it's also good to be on the radar of the VC funds as early as possible.
Can I just maybe add something there? Sorry to interrupt. For the reasons of going this route and talking to these VCs and sort of readjusting the way that we are fundraising, a lot of the interested VCs have invested in very big companies like Telegrams, like your the bigger exchanges. Companies that they think that can benefit from our services. So not only can we benefit from the funds that they raise or they invest, but we can also work with their other existing investment companies to sort of provide them a better service and to increase the values of those companies as well. So it's definitely a very strategic type of investment for them. So I just wanted to add that. Sorry, go ahead, continue, Gunnar.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was almost at the close of my point as well. So I just wanted to give reassurances. Yes, fundraising has been on hold. We're continuing with that right now. Our target is mainly VCs, professional investors for this one. As Vincent mentioned, many of them are players in this space already, and they're looking at First Digital as a strategic investment. You can already see the sort of the reflection of that, what we did with Nogo, where it's a VC studio or VC like incubator. So there is a capital investment, but they also bring in the technology resource and other clients and their network. So we're continuing on that. So MCM and Max has all the information on that. So whoever is qualifying for that, we're happy to have a chat about that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gunnar. And we still have quite a lot of questions from the floor, and we overrun on time, so we do the Q&A session quickly. And the first question that we have is why the annual report for the 2019 is so late, and now it's already May of 2020. So we have the annual report 2018 during the March of 2018. Is there any reason of the delay?
So is this question for First